The Tabletop Miniature Hobby Podcast is proud to be sponsored by Dr. Spork's 3D Terrain. From retro greenskin outposts to elven fortresses and obelisks, this is hands down the best nostalgic scenery you'll find out there, and all at stupidly reasonable prices. Check it out for yourself by heading over to bedroombattlefields.com/spork, that's SPORK, and turn your tabletop into a scene from White Dwarf circa 1994. Andy Chambers not included. Brought to you by bedroombattlefields.com, this is the Tabletop Miniature Hobby Podcast. Hello and welcome to the Tabletop Miniature Hobby Podcast. It's Matthew with you here. It's the start of a new month, and that could only mean one thing. It's time for hobby progress and accountability. Let's get into it.
Hi Matthew, it's George here. George Paints on Discord and Old Hammer and Tongs over on YouTube. So yeah, I've been ploughing on with my Old World's Army Challenge project for 2026. So I'm painting a full Rogue Trader Imperial Guard army, inspired by the John Blanche artwork that went on the front of that plastic box set that came out in, I think, 1989. Basically showing mass ranks of guard marching forward, waving flags, all very sort of 30 years war, 40,000 years in the future. It's sort of the project I've always dreamt of doing, because that was the first Games Workshop product I ever got when I was 7, that box. And I've always wanted to sort of paint them all up, and I've never done it. So it's really, really exciting to be on that now. However, having said that, my month in December was not a great success. Normally, before the challenge starts, you do all your priming and basing and modeling and stuff. And I just hadn't been able to do any of that. So I spent the first 2 weeks of January doing all of the preparation, and then finally started painting about a week ago. So I had to really rush through painting a squad of guardsmen. So I'm sort of okay with how they turned out, but they're not brilliant, and they're definitely lacking a bit of detail. So hopefully I'll have a chance to go back to them further down the challenge and spruce them up a bit. But February, a short month, of course, very tricky for any painting challenge. You need to be conscious of the fact you're deprived of 2 or 3 days. So I'll need to crack on pretty soon. But all being well, I'm hoping to get a bit ahead and get some more of the kind of rank and file troops done, so that I'll have more time to spend on the officers and the characters and the commissars further down the line. But yeah, I'm painting them in that sort of classic style, Codex grey, with bolt gun metal helmets, coloured stripes for different squad types. And it was an absolute joy, actually. At first I was in a bit of a tiz about it and thought, why am I doing this to myself? But once I sat down and got into it, I thought, I'm so glad I'm doing this to myself. This is one of the best things I've ever done. So thank you so much, Hobby, for once again reminding me why I need you so much in my life and why you're so important. But yeah, I will keep you all updated with my progress. It's lots and lots of fun, and I'm really looking forward to hearing about what everyone else has been up to. Thanks again for the podcast, Matthew. We love it, and see you all soon. Bye-bye.
Hello, Matthew. Hello, Bedroom Battlefields crew. This is James Doan. Well, January had several high points. Wonder of wonders, I completed a warband for ArkWorld, and I also got in 2 games of ArkWorld. One was a 3-player game versus both my sons, and the second one was a game against my son Jack. The first game, my wizard warband, led by Whizbang the Uncertain, was successful in collecting the Arcanite tokens against my son Toby's Beastfolk and Jack's Ancient Dead warband. It was good. It was a lot of fun. The system is very straightforward, but we did get a lot of the rules wrong. The second game, we got more of them right, but still some wrong. And Jack managed to thoroughly defeat my warband down to the point where Whizbang will have to recruit some other followers in order to come back and have another go. It is a fun little system, and even better miniatures. Warp Miniatures is the company, Alex Huntley is the sculptor, and they are wonderful. They are metal, so they tick the boxes for me. They are also available in resin, most of them, for people who like that sort of thing. And yeah, I highly recommend them. Looking forward, more Arcworld is coming. I've almost finished painting the Dark Lord warband, which is going to see the table hopefully on Monday, and 3D printing some more terrain. I've been looking for the right kind of terrain to mimic an ancient and Mirkwood-like forest, and I've been not very impressed by some of the tabletop options. But then I started looking into terrarium and aquarium stuff that you could 3D print, and you get some nice, big, tangled roots and that sort of thing. So I shall post some pictures when we have the next game. Once we feel like we know what we're doing rules-wise, we're going to have a campaign. See how that goes. There are many other miniatures for the warbands that you can order. Unfortunately, the postage to America is $26, which is a little high to justify a small purchase, so I'm saving up to make a larger one. But yes, that's where we're at the moment. Painting-wise, that's what's on the desk, is more Arcworld warbands. But also, what's this? Is it green? Is it angry? Oh dear. It's Wah! Yes, that's right. 40k orcs are covering the desk, and I had a wonderful painting party with my children, with Jack and Toby and my little daughter, all breaking out the goblin green, because I'm trying to paint them with at least the skin tone as laid out in the old 40k painting guide. But yes, that should be fun. We're working on it. Toby is working on, I believe it was Ultramarines last I checked, but he's still narrowing down what particular type of Space Marine he wants to do. Jack is doing his own high fleet of Tyranids, but they have the same enthusiasm when it comes to it as I do, so they're trying to figure it out. Third edition is what we will be playing, and hopefully that'll be in the next month or so. But we've got to get some more of that lovely Dr. Spork terrain printed out and ready. I do have the Orc outpost printed and based and ready for some paint to be slapped on it. Who knows? I might be able to get to that in the next couple of days. Hope you're all well, and happy painting.
Hello, it's Luke here, from the Discord. I just thought I'd pop in an update on my monthly hobby. I've probably not done as much as I would have liked to have done, but I've managed to progress some things, which is always good. I've not got as much free time as I used to have at the moment because my partner's had a baby, so I'm quite tied up in the evenings, whereas I wasn't before. Luckily, I've been on a course for the last 2 weeks, which has been started slightly later than my normal work. So I've had about 15 minutes in the morning to progress things on my painting bench. I've been working on a dwarf organ gun, the old school white metal one, where I've been just painting it and assembling it, and I've managed to finish that off, which I'm quite happy with. Looking at it, it fits in well with my army, but I can't help but think that maybe it had been designed for a different army. It's like it's all got the spiky edges around the shields, and to me it almost looks like an orc war weapon, but obviously it was decided to go for the dwarves, and it does fit. It's just a bit spikier than my more refined dwarf army usually has. I also wanted to have a chat about the Kickstarter that's going on about the new Chaos Dwarfs. Well, it's not a Kickstarter, it's a backer kit. Someone's taking their Fabelzel STLs, the ones that you used to be able to 3D print. They're taking them and they're making a set of castings from them, and they're going to start casting them in white metal. So you'll be able to have like an old school army of Chaos Dwarfs, which are brand new and won't cost a fortune. I've submitted to it, and I'm hoping to get a unit of 16 blunderbusses and a unit of 28 axes, which will include a command, a hero, and a vizier, and I'll probably arrange that in 4 rows of 7. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to them coming out. I've always wanted a Chaos Dwarf army, but the price has always put me off. But I guess what I'm toying with at the moment is what colour scheme to paint them in. Do you go with the typical black and red, or do I want to do them green and yellow, and then I can use some of my dwarfs that I've already got for reinforcements? Oh well, thank you very much. See you later. Bye.
Hello, I'm Björn from Hamburg, Germany. I really enjoy hearing about the other people's progress and what they have achieved in their hobbies. So thank you for this podcast. It gives me a lot of inspiration. That's why I've decided to share my own progress here. Painting is one of the most important aspects of my hobby. It's where I find relaxation and I enjoy seeing progress in January. I was working on the angels for the German skirmish game Rapture. I also painted the miniatures from the Battletech Aces box scoring sets. For the angels, I tried out Valeo's new true metallic colors, especially Imperial Gold. For the Jailer Falcon makes and vehicles, I used Emerald Green from the same range. I'm very pleased with the results. They are blue colors. Otherwise, I'm continuing with my bold action project Market Garden. I will be playing the Germans and your friend will be playing the British. For the Germans, I'm currently painted the last of the Fallschirm miniatures I have left, the medium mortar team and a few specialist teams, Flamethrower, Panzerfaust and Sniper. I also have a Hanomag finished. For the Operation Spot campaign in North Africa, where I play the SAS, I'm still working on creating some terrain. I need 8 more buildings that fit into the better setting. I've tested the color scheme on one of them and I'm very happy. So I painted for more for this month. This means that in general, I painted more miniatures than I bought, which is also my goal for the year. Unfortunately, our group only managed to organize this one trial game for Kill Team, which I lost. Another scheduled chess session had to be cancelled due to snow. That was my hobby focus for January, and I'm very pleased with everything I accomplished at the painting table. Now I'm looking forward to the podcast and want to hear what other people's work.
Hi, it's Dave Crow calling with a hobby update for January. My hobby output as far as miniatures, painting, collecting, gaming, etc. this month has ground to an absolute halt. I have taken up with an enthusiasm for audio narration and I've decided to start my own podcast, which will be called Grotcast, because I, for the longest time, have enjoyed writing my own 40k fan fiction focusing on orcs and grots, in particular grots, and have written a ton of this nonsense, which I just want to have a crack at narrating this stuff. So at the minute I am having a go. It's a bit of a jury-rig setup, and I'm still getting that out in terms of what I need to know, what equipment I need, and how to do all this. It's really fun getting stuck right in. I'm riding that wave of enthusiasm for a brand new project and hoping to get a whole story in the can, maybe before I get it uploaded and available to listen to. So I'll let you know if and when that gets going, and maybe I'll get back to painting and gaming, etc. at some point. But for now, that's what I've been up to. This multifaceted hobby continues to keep its claws in me in a very strange and particular way at this stage. So there we go. That's the update. Excited to hear what everyone else is excited for, and thanks for the podcast. And let's go. Cheers.
Hello, Matthew. It's Ed from Sussex and the Bedroom Battlefield Discord here, just calling in with my hobby update for January. I didn't do a hobby update last month because I was too busy working, and all I did was play one game of 2nd edition 40k. This month I've got a bit more done. I painted a handful of giant rats to fill out my Skaven contingent for the big battle that Jason ran. My Skaven mostly did well. Things went wrong early on in the battle, and then we scrambled to come up with a new plan, and the plan worked. which is incredible when Skaven plans work, and resulted in the entire Dwarven stronghold being destroyed. So that was fun. In honour of that, I decided I needed to paint my Vermin Lord up. So the first model I painted after the big battle day was a Skaven Vermin Lord, and he just needs a varnish put on him. And then after painting a lot of rats over the last 4 months or so, I decided I wanted to change of pace. So I've been painting some Perry's miniatures, some Napoleonic Spanish contingent, some priests and monks, just to, change things up, give me a little bit of a change of pace. Planning on playing some Silver Bayonet with a friend in the coming months, just getting a few extra models painted up for that. I've also been playing a bit of Blood Bowl this month. I've got in a couple of games so far, and I've got another game on Sunday. This is all leading up to me heading off to a big tournament, Beachhead. It'll be the first sort of big tournament I've been to. I played a little local club one and did surprisingly well. Not expecting to do that well this time, but, just looking forward to going and meeting some other Blood Bowl fans and seeing what madness ensues on the pitch. In terms of what I'm planning for next month, well, hopefully I'll have these Napoleonic minis finished up, or finish them up in the first bit of next month. And then more Blood Bowl, actually, because we've got a league coming up at my local club later in the year. So I want to get a few journeyman linemen painted up for my Dark Elves, because I have a feeling I'm going to lose a few of my normal positionals. There's already talk of targeting my Witch Elves. So yeah, gonna get some of those painted. And then we'll see where the winds of fancy take me from there. Anyway, that's my hobby update, and I look forward to hearing what everyone else has been up to over the last month. And take care, everyone. Bye.
Hi, Matthew. It's Martin here in Hampshire, responding to your request for our hobby updates, i.e. what we're playing, painting or planning. At the time of recording, in terms of playing, I have a Lion Rampant game in 15mm set up on the table. Got a friend visiting on Sunday, and we'll be playing the Lion Rampant game and also, hopefully, a DBA mini campaign. This one is a ladder campaign where you try to keep pushing the enemy back from one battlefield to the next until they're at their home base. And if you beat them there, you win the campaign. It could be over in a couple of games, or it could take forever. We shall see. Paint-wise, I've got a few 15mm fantasy figures on the go at the moment. They're being refurbished from a bag of neglected figures, which I picked up. But the main focus is prepping a 28mm Dark Ages British army. Now, these could be for Sub-Roman or Welsh or British. I bought these as a batch of Gripping Beast metal figures from a guy on the Society of Ancients forum. They're keeping me very busy. I'm not really used to 28mm, so they are a bit of a challenge, but lovely figures. Plans-wise, in February, which is a very busy month for me, I've got DBA tournaments in the Peak District, which is armies from the steppes. Got one in Coventry, which is a doubles, where you play as a team, which should be quite unusual. And lastly, at Newark, at the Northern Cup at Hammerhead. That's plenty to keep me going. Cheers, and thanks very much for all the podcasts. Looking forward to other people's responses. Cheers now.
Hi, Matthew. It's Mark. I'm just ringing in for my hobby update for January 2026. Well, it started off pretty promisingly, January 2026. I was at the hobby desk getting some painting done, and I've continued to stay at the hobby desk getting painting done. But one big plan was on the 10th of January, I was supposed to be attending Jason's great big game down near him, the big mega battle siege. But unfortunately, the climate had different ideas, and we were flooded in to the village, unable to leave, and I just couldn't get down there. So it all went a bit horribly wrong. We'd had snow and it had all melted very quickly and completely flooded us in, as is prone to happen in our village. But it was just really bad luck that it happened on that night and I just couldn't get there, which was really gutting. However, I've seen all the photos and I've read some of the reports of what went on. It looked absolutely fantastic. So I believe Jason is planning on bringing a version of it to Bring Out Your Lead in the summer. So I am very much looking forward to that and any other games that are coming up. In terms of painting, it's been carrying on with the Dogs of War stuff I've been doing for the Call of the Crown challenge, and that's coming along nicely, and I'm really enjoying it. I think by painting regularly, for some reason, just the way things have worked out, I've had a little bit more time to paint in the evenings, and I've meant that I've been painting slightly more often, and I think that my muscle memory with my brush is slightly improving, and I'm getting faster and a bit more accurate, and I'm really enjoying it. I was thinking about what miniatures I got to paint, and having not bought very many miniatures for a long time, I was thinking, right, I reckon I'm down to my last 100 or so models to paint. However, upon looking more deeply into the stash, I realised that actually I'll completely misjudge that, and there's about 300 left to paint. So, but based on my rate of painting over the last few years, which has been pretty good, and I've been pleased with how much I've got done, I reckon I can put my mind to it and see how many of those I can get done this year. Either way, no more models are really to be bought. I know that's easier said than done, but I am actually seriously in danger of running out of room, and very much looking forward to getting more of my painted models on the table, more games in, and more opportunities to try different things. So, yeah, really keen on finding out what everyone else is up to and what their plans are for 2026. And looking forward to seeing as many of you as possible in person over the course of the year. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
If you're one of those kind-hearted people who tips their servers, taxi drivers and bar staff, how about tipping your favourite podcaster too? And if you've any money left after that, how about tipping me? If you appreciate the work that goes into putting this show together, or if this episode's simply helping you to pass the time whilst you work, drive or paint, then you could leave a little something by going to bedroombattlefields.com/tip. That's bedroombattlefields.com/TIP. And now, back to the show.
Hello all, Jason here from south of England. The stuff I'm looking forward to is a bit difficult actually this month. I finally, after 5.5 years, reached a point where bloody hell, I just need a little bit of a break. I've been going at it quite some intensity for that 5 years. You know, my advocation of making sure that if you want to make progress, just do a little bit each day, even if it's just 5 minutes or whatever it is. This month, I've done so much in so many fields, including work and everything else, that I've just been getting by. And so I haven't done much hobby at all in terms of painting, which is such a shame. But I have been doing research and writing bits and pieces and all that sort of thing. Because sometimes, I don't know if you guys find this, but painting requires a certain level of energy to begin that other things don't require. So like, for instance, television is just a much lower level of energy to engage with. And as is reading, and in some senses, writing bits and pieces is a much lower level of energy for me than getting stuff out to paint. It's a higher degree of concentration. And we can get into a flow state. I do it all the time. But no, unfortunately, this month I've had to call a mulligan on Call of the Crown challenge as well. And I think I probably need something different for a bit. I've been doing nothing but Warhammer Fantasy. So I've been waiting for the juices to flow, as it were, forgive the phrase. And so far, the only inklings I've had of engagement have been making traditional Warhammer buildings, you know, in a balsa wood, coffee stirrer sticks, you know, craft paper kind of way. That's what's getting me going, as is thinking about making dwarf hold in the mountain for a big game at Boyle, which I still don't want to think about yet. But yeah, I'm starting to think about. I know it's normal for everyone else, but it's not normal for me to get that kind of level of, I need a break. Must be so many spinning plates at once. Hope it's normal. Hope it's perfectly normal. I hope it comes back. I'm sure it will. I need my mojo back, as it were. But otherwise, I'm really quite engaged by just reading old material at the moment. That's one of the things I'm really enjoying.
and that's what's got my juices flowing slightly about making stables. I'm thinking of making a semi-Rohan, 16th century stables in the traditional way in the 90s with loads and loads of coffee stirrer sticks. Loads and loads of them. Cheers, Matthew. Hope all's well, everyone. Good. See you later.
Hello, Matthew and podcast listeners. This is Johan, TEG Jeeves from the Discord, calling in from Taiwan and calling for this month's, which is January's, hobby update. I hope I managed to sneak this in time. Today is the 29th, so hope I get this to you in time, Matthew. January has mostly been spent working on my Blitzball teams. So if you're not aware, Blitzball is sort of a younger, quicker, and easier to learn cousin of Blood Bowl. And this one was released, I believe, as a Barnes & Noble exclusive, and I believe it's on its third release already. It's had its third version, third box release. I believe the last one was released towards the end of 2024. I may be mistaken, maybe in 2025. In any case, I got a bit older version, not the very latest one, that included the human and the dwarf teams. So my January was spent mostly painting up those two teams. Luckily, there are only 5 or 6 models on a side. I did them. Really happy with how they came out. And lastly, I ended up, perusing STL files on the internet and found enough files to sort of cobble together a Skaven team, which I printed out on my little Bamboo Lab A1 Mini. Printed them out and painted them up not too long ago, and really, really happy with how they came out. Then I also managed to coerce one of my coworkers into playing Blitzball with me. He happened to be over at my house, and I said, "Hey, let's try this in the game." I had previously played a few testing games with my daughter, and we had a bunch of fun time with that. But now I could play the full game without holding back against another adult opponent, which was quite fun. We had a really good time playing the game. So that was most of what I spent painting on this month. Other than that, every year I take out all my elf models, high elf models, and put them on a table, and they're a mismatch of Oathmark and Games Workshop Warhammer Fantasy models, and I sort of put them together. And I know I need to, base them the same and make a sort of a cohesive army. And so that's what I've slowly been doing. I've been rebasing some of my older high elf models. I started with some archers. I did them, and I ended up repainting them so that they can fit in with my existing Oathmark models. Now, the scale isn't exactly the same, but honestly, ranked up next to each other, viewed from sort of table height, no one's going to really notice. I actually think they came out really well, and I'm kind of happy to have them. And other than that, I started fixing some other models that I got, and because I bought sort of an eBay lot with a bunch of high elves, and quite a few of them came broken, which I knew about from the beginning. But anyway, so that has been my second project for the month. And then lastly, on the gaming front, just today, I pulled out Cell Swords and Spell Slingers by Andreas Filigoy, the designer of A Song of Blades and Heroes, among other games. And I got the cards re-sleeved, and so they're nicely sorted out, and I have just finished up creating a new party, and I'm hoping to play this game, try and actually play through the campaign. So I am going to make an effort this year to play more games and not just paint and print models. So that's my goal for 2026, I guess, a New Year's resolution, as you can say. Anyway, yes, that's it for me for my hobby update for this month. Once again, thank you, Matthew, for hosting the podcast. Always enjoy listening to discussions on my drives in the morning, and looking forward to hearing everybody else's hobby updates for January. But until then, this is me signing off. Bye-bye.
Hello, Matthew, and the good people of the Bedroom Battlefields community. This is Axe Annex from the Bad Internet Friends podcast, checking in with my hobby updates. It has been a while since I have done so, though I have been listening religiously to all of yours, and they've been quite inspiring. I've really only been up to 2 things. Working on Endless Hamler, endlessly. It's my strategy RPG adventure war game. And I released the alpha just recently, and it is just a mass of wall of text. I tried to fix a bit of formatting, and apparently I just got rid of every single thing. And so fixing that on the beta. Gonna polish that up, do a little tweaking here and there for the beta, make it look good, make it play a little better. Not too much testing going on right now on that game. I kind of shelved it to work on the other thing I've been going back and forth on, which is Battletech, of course, Alpha Strike specifically. And right now, Battletech Aces. I've managed to pick up not one, but 2 of the Scouring Sands boxes, which is pretty great. And now I have all the solo decks I need to play through the game. I just need to paint up all those miniatures, which shouldn't be too bad. It's pretty easy, actually, for the Scouring Sands. But what I really have a stick in my craw. No, it doesn't even make sense. What I really want to do is go back to the Hotspots Hinterlands and build the entire, you'd say, bestiary, the opposing tables of mechs and vehicles and emplacements and whatnot. And I decided, what does that actually look like if I want to do that? And we're looking at roughly about 325 miniatures, which is exciting. It's very exciting. I figured that will be perfect for the other project I want to start up, inspired by Johnny Watson. I want to go back to live streaming the painting streams or building streams every once in a while, and I want to start off with Scouring Sands and then move on to the Hotspot Hinterlands and then go from there. So tune in if you want to see a lot of brush strokes throughout the year on the Bad Internet Friends podcast. I'm going to be broadcasting under Axe Annex Paints. So hopefully I will talk to you every once in a while. Otherwise, I am looking forward to everyone else's updates, and I will catch you later. Bye-bye.
Hi, Matthew. It's Dave here, Dave Tron from the Discord. Just posting about this month's hobby progress. It's been a while since I've done one of these because I've been really time poor we've been doing huge house renovations and also been looking after a toddler. But what I've been focusing on this month is slowly batch painting up a bunch of Germans, World War II German soldiers for bolt action. I've played one game of Infinity and one game of Necromunda. They were both last month in December. And what I'm planning to do is continue to do some more terrain. I've got quite a lot of US and German bolt action figures, mainly in this case, a lot of tanks to paint. And I'm also planning at some point to return to do some fantasy and some medieval. I've got quite a bit to catch up on there. As my time improves and increases, I'll get back into some of that other stuff. But anyway, thanks very much, and really interested to hear what other people have got on their paint tables and what they're playing and planning. Yeah, thanks again for the podcast. It's always a good listen. Cheers. Bye.
Greetings, Matthew, and everyone enjoying the Tabletop Miniature Hobby Podcast. Mark Snacklewolf here, calling in from the brisk and quite foggy Central California. My hobby progress in January: completed 3 Schreckwolfen Infantry for Conflict 47. That's the weird World War II miniatures game by Warlord. They were a joy to paint, and I'm eager to continue with the rest of the cool new Rift Tech troops for that army. I'm attempting to resist pre-ordering the upcoming box for the Soviets. I'm quite enamored with the Ursus Bear Infantry. They just look absolutely stunning. Really top-notch. Real life, unfortunately, has caused me to cancel this weekend's match of K47, but I'm excited that our local player base is expanding. I'm also painting some halflings for Blitz Bowl. My friend and co-host of Tabletop Throwdown, we're planning on a YouTube gameplay episode. We'll pair them up against Skaven. It should be good fun. I'm going for loud, energetic color on these little guys. Violet purple shirts, lime green trousers, fashion sense that only halflings can pull off on the pitch. That's it for now. I hope all of you are doing well. I'm eager to hear your updates. Cheers, and thanks for listening.
Massive thanks as ever to everyone who submitted a clip throughout the month of January 2026, and you could do the same for the next hobby update episode anytime you like. Just go to bedroombattlefields.com/voicemail and you'll find everything you need to submit your own audio clip. So as for my own progress, last time we spoke, I was putting the finishing touches to my Blood Bowl team, my human Blood Bowl team, the Mordheim Double Glazing Company. So they're all done now. I've put a photo up on bedroombattlefields.com and I'll stick a link in the show notes as well. So I'm really happy with them, really happy with how they came out with that nice pink, yellow and black colour scheme and a couple of star players as well. And I've had a few games of Blood Bowl recently with my wife, so the human team, they're pretty good. Like I took the stats just as they were out of the 2020 book, but when you've got like the catchers and the throwers and that, they're just they just seem to be pretty good, to be quite honest with you. Or maybe I'm just a bad player, but I've played Gnomes against them, I've played Chaos against them, and I just can't get near them. So it's all good fun though, and like I say, really happy to have that team painted up too. So I don't know, like, but with 10 or 11 miniatures, if you could necessarily call it a batch paint, but like I was repeating the same colour scheme over and over with these, especially like the linemen, and now I am on to a selection of more individual miniatures because I've got my Thundercats, which I've talked about extensively already, so I'm making good progress with them too. I did set a little target for myself recently to try and complete 3 miniatures per week. I felt that was a nice comfortable aim, which, you know, lets me enjoy the miniature, but also I feel like I'm making progress too, and I'm delighted to say that's gone really well so far. So I think last week I actually ended up getting about 6 done, or the week before last, sorry. So out of the Thundercats, I did Panthro, Chitara, Tigra, Lionel himself and Snarf. So Snarf was tiny. He took like 10 minutes, I think, the entire miniature. And also from Crooked Dice, I had like this Crabman miniature. So there is a Crabman in Thundercats, and he's definitely not based on that. But I figured like Mumra's going to need some help with the mutants and that. So I got this Crabman, and again, very easy to paint. It was just a couple of different contrast paints on him. So that was 6 miniatures the first week I tried this after finishing my Blood Bowl team, and the week just past there, I managed to hit 3 as well with Wily Kit, Wily Cat, and Mumra in his mummy form. So that's another 3 banged out. And I've got pictures on bedroombattlefields.com, and I'm really happy with how they came out. I paradoxically feel like I spent a lot of time with them, but also got them done really quickly. I think what's going on there is I maybe paid a bit more attention than usual to things like colour schemes, which I don't usually. I mean, everything I paint, it's pretty mini agnostic. There's rarely a formula to these things, but because, you know, the Thundercats is like a recognisable IP, and, you know, I'm under the strict guidance of my daughter here, so she'd picked out all the colours and stuff. So I think I was just maybe, I mean, feeling the pressure sounds very extreme, but I was determined to do a decent job on them, and I'm really happy with how they came out. So it's good to be making progress on that. I've already went back onto Crooked Dice and ordered their version of the Thunder Tank, because, I mean, you need it, don't you? So that looks really cool. That's going to come in the next few days. I'll just see whenever I could get to that. Not painted a tank since the 90s when I think I had a couple of rhinos. But aye, that'll be good. Whilst I was on there, it would have been rude not to order the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as well. So I've got the 4 turtles coming my way too. They'll need a lick of paint when they get here, obviously. Other stuff I've been buying, I try not to buy too much these days, but sometimes you just can't help it. So I had a game of Hobgoblin with Callum, aka Dr. Spork, and I'd agreed at the end of that, I was like, I'm going to buy some wizards for these 3 armies. So I went on Ralpartha that night and ordered up a wizard for the Chaos army, wizard for the Orc army, and one for the human army, and I got 3 bodyguard characters for them too. So they came the other day, and I got them cleaned up and glued to their bases. So they're all really great miniatures, and I'm looking forward to getting some paint on them too and getting them added to my 15mm forces. Elsewhere, I had my very first taste of an RPG. Like, I've never played a quote-unquote proper RPG before, and I was really interested in trying some with my daughter, because she's got a really like active imagination. She's been asking to like write her own storybooks and stuff like that. So the time just seemed right to try something like this. So I did a bit of research, and it's a book called Amazing Tales by Martin Lloyd, and this is an RPG system, and it's, you know, a lot of the book is like guidelines and advice for parents, which was really handy for me as a complete newbie to this genre. But it's aimed at kids as young as 4, and my daughter is 4 at the moment. So we've played a few games of that, and it's been really good, actually. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. So the game mechanics themselves, like as the author says, you could basically fit them on one page, and the rest of it, you know, there's just a lot of tips and pointers and stuff. So I've found that really handy to read through. You know, it's giving you advice as a parent on, you know, how to tell these stories and how to build them, how to enable your kids to lead the story and make sure that you're never shutting doors on them or saying no to them. And the gist of it is, like, they get this character sheet, so they create their character like, I suppose, any RPG. So they have 4 different abilities, and it's based on 4 different dice types. And anything they do in the game, they just have to roll a 3 or up. So they've got their kind of bottom level skill, that's a D6. Then you've got a D8, a D10, and a D12. So self-explanatory, like your skills get better the higher the dice type, you get more likely to succeed. And that just gives a very basic framework to work around. So your skills could be anything. Like one of my daughter's skills was, I think it was healing unicorns, and then one of them was baking cakes. So that just prompts you to kind of work a story, work stories around those situations, put her in those situations where she's going to get to roll for that. And it's a lot of fun. Like, I'm asking her, rather than like spoon feeding her the story and descriptions and stuff, I'm asking, under the book's guidance, asking her a lot of questions about when we walk into a room. Like, you know, I'll ask her what she sees in the room. If there's NPCs there, I'll ask her a bit about what they look like, what they sound like, and she's really enjoying just running with that. And it's already created a lot of fun, memorable wee moments as well. So, Amazing Tales by Martin Lloyd, thoroughly recommended if you're like me, you know, and you're very new to RPGs and are interested in getting your kids involved. And again, stick a link in the show notes to that so you could check it out. And one last thing to mention, I'll just have a final shout out for that survey that I was running at time of recording, the Midlife Hobby Renaissance Survey, bedroombattlefields.com/survey. If you got into the hobby initially in your teens and then fell out of it in adult life and got back into it in your later years, then I would love to hear about your experiences and all that. So you could fill out that survey by going to bedroombattlefields.com/survey. And once again, links in the show notes. So there's a lot for you to check out in the show notes of this episode. Other than that, though, that is just about it for this episode of the Tabletop Miniature Hobby Podcast. Thanks as always for listening. I truly do appreciate it, and we'll chat again on the next one.